Hey, welcome back. Grab a drink, dim the lights, and get comfortable. I have three completely different stories for you tonight, and I have to warn you, the second one genuinely kept me up listening to the walls of my own house. Let's get right into it. My husband, Richard, always played the martyr. When my grandfather passed away and left me his historic farmhouse and 30 acres of prime timberland, Richard volunteered to handle the probate and the sale. He told me the market was dry, the house was riddled with black mold, and after paying off outstanding debts, we only cleared $12,000. I was too grief-stricken to question him. I took my $6,000 share, put it in savings, and tried to move on with my life. But then I found the receipt in his golf bag. It was not just for the boat, but a premium slip rental at the local marina under the name Richard and Vanessa. Vanessa was his 24-year-old assistant. I did not cry. Instead, I went to the county records office. The farmhouse had not sold for $12,000. It had sold for $480,000 to a luxury developer. Richard had used a forged power of attorney to funnel the funds into a private business entity he set up under his own name, slowly siphoning the money so I would not notice. He thought he was an absolute genius. He was planning to dump me, take his new boat, his new mistress, and the remaining cash, leaving me with nothing. But he made one fatal mistake. The power of attorney he forged was incredibly broad, giving him the right to sign for me. But because of the way he drafted the business entity's operating agreement to keep his own name off the public registry initially, he had listed me as the sole managing member of the holding company to avoid personal tax liability before he planned to dissolve it. He assumed I would never look at the paperwork. I used his own broad power of attorney and my legal status as the sole managing member of that holding company to take control. I did not block the boat purchase. I let the sale go through smoothly. But the day before he was set to take Vanessa on their inaugural weekend voyage, which I knew about because I saw his secret digital calendar, I quietly sold the boat back to the dealership at a 10% discount for immediate cash. I also liquidated the holding company's remaining assets, which included all the cash from my grandfather's land, and transferred every single penny into a brand new high-yield savings account in my name only. When Richard arrived at the marina that Friday evening with Vanessa, his bags packed to never return home, he found an empty slip. When he called the dealer in a panic, they politely informed him that the legal owner, which was me, had sold it back. When he checked his secret business account, the balance was zero. He could not even sue me or complain to the police without admitting to forging the original power of attorney and defrauding his wife of her inheritance. He lost the boat, the money, the mistress, and his pride in a single afternoon. And I used my grandfather's money to buy a beautiful cottage by the sea, miles away from him. I bought the old Victorian house at a massive discount because the previous owner had simply vanished one night, leaving all his belongings behind. It felt like an absolute steal. I spent my first week cleaning and organizing. On Saturday, I climbed up to the attic to store some boxes and found the model. It was a perfect replica, about 3 feet wide, complete with miniature shingles and tiny glass windows. I laughed it off as a quirky hobby of the old man and decided to leave it there. But on Monday morning, things started getting strange. In my real living room, I had moved a heavy floral armchair from the window to the left side of the fireplace to make room for my television. When I went up to the attic to get a broom later that afternoon, I glanced at the model. The tiny wooden armchair inside the miniature living room was now sitting on the left side of the fireplace. I was certain I had not touched it. I told myself I was just adjusting to the layout of the new house and my brain was playing tricks on me. But the next night, I decided to test it. Before going to bed, I moved a blue ceramic vase from the kitchen counter to the dining room table. First thing in the morning, I ran up to the attic. The tiny blue vase, no bigger than a fingernail, was sitting on the miniature dining room table. A cold chill ran down my spine. Was I sleepwalking? I had no history of it, but it was the only logical explanation. I set up a motion-activated camera in my bedroom and another one in the attic, aiming directly at the model. The next morning, I woke up and checked the footage. My bedroom camera showed me sleeping peacefully, completely still, from midnight until 7 in the morning. I breathed a sigh of relief. Then I opened the footage from the attic camera. At exactly 3 in the morning, the camera detected motion. The video showed the model house sitting under the dusty rafters. Suddenly, the tiny wooden front door of the model slowly creaked open from the inside. A hand, not human but made of pale jointed wood about the size of a toothpick, reached out from the darkness of the miniature hallway. It grabbed a tiny wooden figure resembling me, dragged it screaming into the model house, and slammed the tiny door shut. I froze in absolute terror. The model was not mimicking my house. My house was mimicking the model. Before I could even process what I was seeing, I heard a soft, rhythmic wooden tapping sound coming from inside the walls right above my head, and the front door of my real house slowly began to unlock itself from the inside. My boss, Julian, was a 25-year-old venture capital darling who wore fleece vests and spoke entirely in startup buzzwords. He had inherited his father's tech firm and immediately set out to streamline operations by firing anyone who actually understood how the infrastructure worked. I was the lead back-end engineer, and I had spent 6 months building a proprietary rate-limiting and request-filtering algorithm. It was the digital shield of our entire platform. Without it, our cloud servers would treat every single automated bot attack, spam loop, or malicious scrape as a legitimate, high-priority user request, automatically spinning up thousands of expensive virtual servers to handle the load. Julian did not understand cloud computing. He saw my lines of code and thought they were slowing down the launch of his new, flashy website design. He wanted a lean, agile machine. When I tried to explain that the rate limiter was the only thing standing between us and an infinite cloud hosting bill, he laughed in my face. "We have unlimited scaling, you idiot," he said. "The cloud is free until people actually use the site." He gave me an ultimatum. Strip out the security code by 5 o'clock, or he would find someone on a freelance site to do it for a fraction of my salary. I asked him to put the directive in writing. He smiled, typed out an email saying, "Remove the redundant security and rate-limiting scripts immediately to optimize user onboarding," and signed it with his arrogant digital signature. I did not argue. I complied. I stripped out the rate limiter, pushed the clean, unprotected code to production, handed in my resignation, and walked out of the building. I knew exactly what was going to happen. On Friday night, a minor competitor running a simple, automated scraping bot targeted our site to index our product catalog. Normally, my code would have blocked their IP address after 10 rapid requests. Instead, our cloud hosting service saw the massive spike in traffic, assumed we were going viral, and automatically spun up 10,000 virtual machines to handle the demand. By Sunday night, the automated bot was still running, and our cloud bill was compounding by the second. On Monday morning, Julian woke up to a notification that his corporate credit card had been declined. The cloud provider had charged the company $340,000 over a single weekend, and because of the automated terms of service, they immediately paused our entire database. The startup went completely bankrupt by Friday. When the board of directors tried to sue me for negligence, my lawyer simply forwarded Julian's signed email. I now work for the competitor who ran the scraping bot, and we recently bought Julian's proprietary software at a bankruptcy auction for pennies on the dollar. Thank you so much for listening tonight, and please leave a comment letting me know which of these 3 stories was your absolute favorite.